This video is to describe the article analysis that will be due throughout the CM220 class. There will be 4 articles due 4 different weeks, the first of which is due Saturday, January 21st. The standards for each of the 4 will be the same, with the exception of the first one. I'm allowing multiple submissions. So in that case, you can submit your article. I will review it, give you feedback, and if you care to, you can resubmit it. You can do that a second time and even a third time if necessary. For the second, third, and fourth articles, those are going to be one and done. So I figured this first one will give you a chance to find out what I'm looking for. If you take the wrong tack, we'll be able to get you on track, and you'll be able to know what we're trying to accomplish with this. First off, I want to talk about the purpose of this. The purpose of this project is basically to show you that this class is all around you. This is a class about the real world. You're going to see things that are happening that we're learning about in this class throughout your life if you're watching for them. So this is designed to make you watch for them. So what I want you to do is locate an article or advertisement that uses some concept from the course. Now I list some examples there, potentially polls, averages, variance measurements, graphs, and then we want you to answer some questions. Now, most common question a lot of people have is, okay, what can I use? And the answer is almost anything. I have had people in the past use flyers they received from their electric bill. Last year, somebody got some sort of thing about their electric usage, what they used versus what their neighbors used, and it was interesting to them, and they wanted to analyze it, and it actually fit in well with this particular questions. Years ago, I had a guy who was a big sports fan, loved baseball, hated Barry Bonds. He found an article that just bashed Barry Bonds, so he was thrilled he could use this. And then as he dug into the article, he discovered that there were some serious statistical issues with the article, so he grudgingly pointed those out. He still didn't like Barry Bonds at the end, but he did point out what the problems with the with the particular article were. So, and you can use lots of different things. Over the years, I've had a lot of nursing students. Some of them have used articles out of journals, and that's always possible. If there's some reason you need to review an article and it fits into this, so much the better. The more relevant whatever you're doing is to you, the more valuable it potentially is. I gave the example in the little printed handout. One year, one of my students misread the schedule, and at that time, all the articles were due at the same time, and he didn't realize they were due, and so he went to work, realized they were due that night. He worked at a call center, so he had some time when the phone wasn't ringing, but he had no internet, and he had no materials. And one of his coworkers had a Cosmo magazine, and he was able to dig 5 ads and articles out of Cosmo and do a very credible job with this. So you can make a lot of different things work. All right, now the questions. First 3, everybody answers on each article. Okay, number 1, include a copy of the article or advertisement and identify where you found it. Now, I already saw a question on one of the discussion boards, do you need to cite it? I am not going to be real nitpicky about citing the article, but I recommend you do it. It's a good habit to get into to actually cite it. I'm not going to say it's got to be MLA or it's got to be APA. Pick something and tell me where the source of the item was. Like in the case of that Penelec flyer, it was a little bit challenging. So it was, hey, I had a Penelec flyer that was mailed to my house. So, like I said, I'm not going to nitpick this, but if you have something that can be properly cited, I recommend you do that. It takes you about 2 or 3 minutes to search it online, and it's a worthwhile thing. Okay, now 2 and 3 kind of travel together. Number 2, is your sense the information is biased or unbiased? Why do you believe that? Now, the fact is, you can get full points for either one of those. I may look at the article and come to the opposite conclusion, but I don't have to agree with you for you to get those 2 points. If you pick biased or unbiased and then tell me why, and your why supports whichever choice you've made, then you'll get the 2. The fact that I disagree, reasonable people can disagree about such information, especially when you start looking at advertisements. Where does spin stop and deceit start? That's a place where everybody's going to draw the line a little bit differently. Okay, now number 3 kind of travels with that. Based on your assuming, okay, I felt like I was biased or I felt like I was unbiased, what additional information might you want that would make you feel better about that answer? That you feel like, yeah, I've got this nailed. This is definitely unbiased, or this is definitely biased. What might you be able to, what would you like to learn that would allow you to determine that? Okay, so that's 4 points. Now, you either answer question 4 or question 5. And you'll notice that question 5 is worth 1 more point than question 4. Okay, question 4, if you were the presenter and you would present the information in the same manner, why? What made it effective? If you go down that road, 7 points is the max. If you were the presenter and you present the information differently, what would you do differently? Why would it be more effective? That's worth 8 points. That is my not so subtle way of encouraging you to find things that you aren't necessarily happy with, that you can make some criticisms of, and you maybe can make some improvements of. Now, I don't want to stop you from doing legitimate articles. As I mentioned earlier, I've had a lot of nurses in the past. I know there are a fair number of nurses in this class. If you are looking at a peer-reviewed journal and something that's important for work, I don't want to stop you from doing that. So you can do that, and you look at the peer-reviewed journal. Hopefully it's pretty reliable. You might be more likely to go down the path of number 4. But at the same time, there still might be things they could do better even in those peer-reviewed journals. So maybe you can get to number 5. So be watching for that. Like I said, answer one or the other. Now, there are also 3 points awarded for the appropriateness of the article. That is simply my way of encouraging you to look at a lot of articles. My view of how you would do this is you would be watching for articles, and you'd be collecting articles. Now this first one's due next week, then you have an exam the following week, so you got 2 weeks until the second one's due. Be collecting articles. I would love to see you have 4, 5, 6 articles laying there, and then you choose from it which one's the best. That 3 points is me trying to encourage you to hopefully work that way. Again, the purpose of this project is to have you look and see that this course is all around you. And then the last thing, there's 5 points for just general overall writing quality. I'm not an English major. I'm a computer and math guy, but it's always important to try to write well. So, write these well, answer concisely. I'm not going to weigh these. Don't drown me with detail. Get to your point, make your point, get it done. Most people can answer this in 2/3 to 3/4 of a sheet of paper for an article. Now, one thing too, organize your document by the numbers. Don't try and figure out, I need to put this into paragraphs. Now, give me number 1, here's the answer to 1. Number 2, here's the answer to number 2. 3, here's the answer to number 3. Then either 4 or 5. So, that 5 points at the end is going to be, did you follow that instruction? And did you answer the question fully, but keep it concise? So if you can balance all those things, that's where those last 5 points are going to come from. If you have any doubts, probably keep looking. If you're really not sure, send me a copy of the article. I'll be happy to take a look at it, tell you what I think, and we'll see what happens.